Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is Book Chats, and today I'm going to talk about my 9th debut of the year, and that is Tell Me Three Things by Julie Buxbaum. Tell Me Three Things is a book that is kind of this special exception to the list for the Debut Author Challenge. One of the things that the Debut Author Challenge allows, that things like the Morris Award, which is an award specifically for YA debuts, don't, is that if an author has written for adults before, but is debuting for the first time in new adult, middle grade, or young adult, or if they've written like picture books before and is debuting for the first time as middle grade, young adult, and new adult, that still counts for the challenge, even though it doesn't count for like awards. So this book is one of those. Julie Buxbaum has written adult novels before. I'm not familiar with her adult work. I just read about it in the back when I was reading her little author's note, but this is her first young adult book, and guys, it was so good. So this book was so good that it might, I haven't decided yet, but it might now be my favorite debut of the year. Tell Me Three Things starts out kind of in a way where you think it's just going to be this sweet contemporary story that you've kind of read before. A girl has just moved halfway across the country from Chicago to the LA area, and she's new to this school. She doesn't know anyone. Her father has just remarried, kind of surprising her because she didn't know that he was even dating someone, and she is going to this fancy new school, and at this school she starts receiving these anonymous emails from someone who calls themselves Somebody Nobody, or SN for short. And the emails are like designed to help her adjust to school and figure out what's going on. And so it starts out, and you know ahead of it, like it's not like there's a surprise coming out, but just that part of the premise is just what you think is like, oh, this is gonna be like a sweet, wonderful contemporary. But what makes this book more for me, the depth that comes along with like the broader plot. So the main character, Jessie, I really hope her name is Jessie. I think I remember that properly. The main character, Jessie, has been counting the days since her mom died. So her mom died when she was 14, I believe. So it's just been a little over 2 years since that occurrence. And she's literally been counting the days since then. She and her dad were kind of alone until her dad just suddenly remarried, and it was a surprise to her. And she's still dealing with the grief of her mother's death while trying to grow up and become an adult, like many characters and young adults are, and she is also dealing with many of the kind of normal aspects of like figuring out who you are and figuring out what your school, like figuring out a new school and a new place and figuring out the aspects of general social parts of school, and like figuring out boys, and like, is she interested in boys? Is she interested in more than one boy? Is she interested in this anonymous boy who's emailing her, but also maybe a classmate and also maybe an upperclassman, and like what's going on? And it's the basic plot of the book is relatively simple, but just the way that it's treated is so great and goes into depth and deals with a lot of things that I felt on a more superficial level. And I don't know, like I can't tell you if this is a good representation of what it feels like to lose a parent as a teenager, because I'm really lucky and I did not lose a parent as a teenager, and both of my parents are still alive. I'm not completely unfamiliar with death of loved ones, and oftentimes when I'm reading kind of books, I am not sure if they really are dealing with grief well, and when they do feel like they deal with grief in a serious and way that to me personally echoes some of the feelings that I have, I am like, yes, this is a book that is worthy. And grief, I feel like, is such a difficult emotion to deal with, because I do believe that it affects different people in different ways, and it affects people at different points in their life differently. And one of the things that I thought was really spot on in this is that grief is like kind of this background noise as time passes, but that doesn't mean that you can't get like sucker punched when something suddenly comes up. And I'm just explaining really poorly, but I read this book in 2 days because I was so engaged in it. And I don't know if it's supposed to be a mystery who Somebody Nobody is. I guessed very early on who Somebody Nobody was, but that didn't take away the tension for me, because it was very believable to me that Jessie wouldn't have figured out who Somebody Nobody is. When you are inside of those kind of things, you can't tell. If this was happening to me, I would be like, I don't know what's happening. And she in some ways is like that. And so I totally bought that personally, and my like kind of tension through the book, and that kept me reading, was not who is Somebody Nobody, but when is Jessie gonna figure out, or when is somebody nobody going to reveal himself to her. And I loved pretty much everything about this book, guys. Like, I really liked it. I think I even loved it. And I would absolutely encourage you to pick it up as a emerging adult, or whatever we're called. Someone who's adulting now. I really felt like it resonated and I loved it a lot, and I would highly encourage you to pick this book up. So Tell Me Three Things by Julie Buxbaum, highly recommended. Pick it up, absolutely. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.